Hey Taurus, welcome to Eclipse season. The over the next 6 months, this safe little world that you have built, it will definitely crack, but just enough for the light to start coming in or pouring in, and you'll realize, Taurus, that you were never meant to stay hidden. On September 1st, Saturn is leaving Aries and it's going to be at the 0 degree and re-entering into Pisces into your 11th house. Saturn moving out of your 12th and into 11th of friends, groups, friends, and networking and future goals and even community involvement. This is a continuation of this long-term restructuring when it comes to your social world. Some alliances are maturing at, even at the 0 degree. This is a fresh new start, a fresh new idea, a fresh new way to look at something. And there can be you can be looking at how you have mismatched values with the next person. You can find yourself taking on a leadership role or holding responsibility when it comes to being involved in a community. And this can be like a formative role or informative role. Definitely whatever, you choose, what you have put your time and effort towards over the last 3 years. And this can also show this retrograde movement, because Saturn is in retrograde, can also have you revisiting these earlier lessons when it comes to alliances, when it comes to people actually supporting the person that you're becoming now, Taurus. And this is going to pull you back into thinking to yourself, are you going to let back in these old limitations? And Saturn here is going to teach you the long-term game of goal setting. It's teaching you that your big visions, they need structure, they need timelines, they need allies that you can actually depend on. And my advice towards would not be to fall into old limitations, but Saturn in the 11th house, it brings these big ideas, especially when it's in Pisces. You have these big ideas that seem so far off, but you can make them happen. But you just need to take it step by step by step, and you need structure, and that's the most important thing. And it may take longer than you expect, but Saturn, in the 11th and in the 12th house, it's going to make things crystallize for you, and he can make the impossible real. So you just have to keep believing, keep structuring, know that it's already done, and operate like, take action upon it. On September 2nd, Mercury is going to enter into Virgo in your 5th house, and your mental focus, it comes to, your joy, your creativity, your children, this pleasure, your self-expression. And Mercury here wants to redefine the craft behind your art, and not just by inspiration. It wants to really bring out, if you're in like a phase of like dating or like flirting and things of that nature, it really wants to bring out where you have not played, and you need to play. You need to have more discernment. Mercury, of course, it's a very distinctive when it's choosing a partner, especially being in Virgo. It wants a partner that's in control of itself. It wants a partner who is exciting, but you have to think about what truly excites your mind, when Mercury's in the 5th house, and not just who just catches your eye. If you have children, this is a good time to have thoughtful conversations, skill building, especially teaching your children something, teaching yourself something that is creative, like how to paint, how to draw, or even problem solving altogether, because you have a lot of mental activity and a creative mind, which means you have this very, what do you call it? Visualizing gift. And you can, visualizing is a art. It's an art of manifestation too. So when it comes to, creative projects, children, Mercury here is going to help you plan. It's going to help you become sharper in your techniques and your work, and it's going to help you edit what needs to be redefined. On September 6th, Uranus is going to station retrograde in the first degree in Gemini in your second house. And this can bring focus to, your monies, your possessions, your sense of self-worth. And since this is going to be stationed in direct, it's going to bring up maybe these financial surprises, maybe that slow down something, on the outside world. But it also is going to get you to reassess your approach when it comes to earning and spending. Uranus in the second house, especially in Gemini, it wants you to really think outside the box, right? Unconventional when it comes to sourcing a new income, or, when it comes to, it's just like creating a new income. It wants you to be more inventative. You've been exploring whatever you've been exploring, it might need some fine tuning. you know um your self-esteem and your values are also seen in the second house, and they can be evolving. And this is a retrograde that will show you which old habits, or which old security habits, old saving habits are not compatible with your new vision of freedom. It can also prompt you to understand, or to try to understand how you are using your skills or your value systems when it comes to, like, marketing yourself, or believing that you serve that you can make money in some type of way, or you can have possessions in a non-conventional way. Taurus. Um so September 7th, this is the full moon lunar eclipse. This is a lunar eclipse in your 11th house. This is absolutely huge, Taurus. Please go check out my video on the lunar eclipse. I've done it with Divine Feminine Works. This is the most potent time. This month is just extremely important. Probably this is the most important month of the whole year. It is the most transformative month. This eclipse, this is, I'm going to briefly tell you about it, Taurus, because obviously this is such a powerful moment for you that I have to tell you. But this really completes a chapter when it comes to friendship, when it comes to groups, when it comes to community ties. In the other video, we definitely go in depth about what it actually means for your sign. And it's just huge, and you really are coming to some type of a conclusion. So let me just talk about it, right? So there is a key friendship that can change its shape. There's an idea, that can finally happen, or something that you thought was so far out there. You actually find people that align to this idea. Even when it comes to your future, Pisces energy definitely dissolves these rigid expectations that we may have, and you may realize that a dream that you have can come true, or one that just no longer serves or inspires you. This is a powerful moment for you, because this is a karmic cleansing when it comes to the social sphere. Who are you hanging around from? You could be freeing yourself from group dynamics that drain your energy. You can have some um things that just fade away entirely, but things that also replace them. There's these fated and destiny kind of events that happen when you meet people, when you're around people, when you get certain ideas. You just want to make sure that you crystallize them. With this full moon, this is such an emotional time where you realize, towards, you want to be better, you want to do better, but some things are outdated. And it's not even about being better, it's about wanting more. You want your long-term goals and your reality to reflect what you actually think inside of your head, these big ideas that you want to see, in reality. But sometimes you have to adjust what's going on around you. Did you take the right steps? Are you in the right group? Or are you having these rigid expectations, or are they having these rigid expectations around you that just no longer serve you? It's not going to work. That it's draining your energy, and quickly it's going to resolve itself, especially with this blood moon that we're having, and it's going to just fade away entirely as well. On September 13th, we're going to have or you're going to have, everyone's going to have, but the sun is conjuncting Mercury at 20 degrees in Virgo in your fifth house, Taurus. This is a powerful moment when it comes to creativity. I think conversations around art, around personal pleasure, around romance, around children, around projects, they just come with this, they flow with insight, they flow with precision. And if you feel stuck on how things are going to happen and when things are going to happen, this is a perfect moment when these details actually click for you. And it's also a good time to express your affection when it comes to your creative work, or just expressing affection to children. And your words, they have an immediate impact. They're more impactful for you now, so you can speak more, you can connect more when it comes to speaking directly from the heart. And it's, but still be very articulate with what you're saying, right? Make it mean something, because the sun is about your career, your soul, your development. It's really like who you are in the care in this earth realm, right? And Mercury is the way that you think. So really put your thought to what, like, wisdom in your thought to actually making things happen when it comes to your creativity, in your joy, because fifth house is a house of dharma. So that's a pretty good conjunction happening in your fifth house. So on September 18th, Mercury is going to enter into Libra in your sixth house, and this is where your mind is going to shift when it comes to your social, or what do you call it? Service roles, and your health management, your routines, your body routines. This is a perfect time for you to like be productive, or have productive talks with the next person, colleagues, or rethinking your schedule, or redefining how you associate with responsibilities. Maybe you think about your health. You become health wise, you become health conscious, because you're starting to research these new treatments. If you need any type of treatments, this can be holistic as well, can have to do with your wellness habits, maybe some life-changing approaches or lifestyle approaches when it comes to what you eat on a day-to-day basis, how you move your body. And there is the key to having Mercury in your sixth house in Libra is to be negotiative, negotiative, if that's a word. Because you have to negotiate certain things like your tasks, your workloads, or timelines that work on a day-to-day basis. You have to be more collaborative, more understanding, more than usual when Mercury's in your sixth house in Libra. Venus is going to be on September 19th. Venus is going to be entering into Virgo in your fifth house. And this is where pleasure and affection can grow, through love affairs, through children, through play, through creativity. And there's this affectionate flow when Venus is in the fifth house. This is actually very, very sweet here, because it boosts your romantic magnetism. It's like you're likely to attract people who show they're reliable, who pay attention to detail, and not just surface level nonsense, or surface level like tendencies, or this little sparkle on the surface level. This is a deeper Venus and Virgo is like this deeper care. They care more about what's going to happen. They care about polishing and redefining certain things, and bringing beauty into form. And if you have children, this transit can really enhance your enjoyment of time that you spend with them. Enjoying new activities, or combining fun with like skill building, or mental work, or any type of thing that has to do with the mind, but also has to do with beauty, can be enhanced when Venus is in your fifth house. You're also having a solar eclipse, wow, on September 1st in your fifth house. Taurus, like, excuse me, because the new moon, well, the solar eclipse, right, it's happening in at the 29 degree in your fifth house. This is faded new events, faded new love, new ways to express yourself. You know, creativity. You can start a romance. You can be conceiving a child. You can launch this passion project. You know, you could rediscover a hobby that really transforms your life. And because it's happening in the later degree at the 29th degree is the sense of urgency. I must make this happen now. You know, it's really feeling like that last moment or that last fix when it's in Virgo. And this is going to suggest that there's a perfect timing for everything, right? Rather than just starting, something out of, just let's just say just starting a new relationship or just starting a project, but it's, you want to start something that you've been nurturing and it now reaches this point. I mean, not start, but you want to continue something that's been, you've been nurturing for a while or sitting on, and it finally reaches this point where it's ready to take off. Eclipses work in, the eclipse is going to happen on September 21st, but it ripples on to the next 6 months. So these events now that that you water, or whatever you get yourself into, or whatever you're nourishing right now or planting the seeds upon, this is going to grow over the next 6 to 12 months. So definitely be sure to do that. On September 22nd, Mars is going to be entering, and I just want to say that Venus is your ruler, Taurus, and Venus is going to be in your fifth house as well. So beautiful, like beautiful, beautiful combination. This is going to transform your life for the better, to see more beauty in thyself, more beauty in the things that you create, and attracting more into your life. But because Venus is in Virgo, you have to really set up mental formulas and start believing that in yourself. And it's in the fifth house. Only you must only water what actually means something to you, what is close to your heart. That is the key of that solar eclipse, Taurus. On September 22nd, Mars, as I said, is entering into your seventh house of partnerships, and that can really heat things up, both in conflict and power struggles, in passion, even. Mars here brings this intensity to these romantic and business relationships that we have. The seventh house is the house of other people, and either you're working together fiercely towards this shared goal or shared resources, or you're butting heads with the next person over power dynamics or having power struggles. This is a transit that's about learning to channel this strong energy, that Mars brings in Scorpio, because it's traditional ruler, and really having these action based productive energy, tendencies, like doing that more, being, jolted into that more, having more action based, you know when you're wielding this powerful energy to working with others, rather than focusing on these control issues. And even when it comes to, sexual chemistry in relationships, that can be heightened, especially in committed relationships and marriages and things of that nature. But when we're also sexually frustrated or something like that, we can, um, you know, be a little, I wouldn't say a little bit angry, but we could be a little bit frustrated, because it's like we haven't gotten what we needed. And you really must use your sexual energy to think about what you need, but also approach it with, you know working, so-called together with the next person fiercely to accomplish something. Use it to accomplish something, right? Sexual energy is a very strong, potent energy that we can use to make ourselves, to enhance our life. It's kind of like fasting. So on September 22nd, the sun is going to enter into Libra in your sixth house. This brings focus or spotlight towards your daily activity, your routines, your health, and your day-to-day activities. And this is a starting point when it comes to balancing, your day-to-day work activities, or what you do on a daily basis, and how you distribute your time, your energy to the next person, between servicing others and taking care of yourself. You're really going to reassess the role that you play when it comes to being a part of a team, or rethink the way that you approach your physical well-being. Partnerships that are formed during, when Mars and Scorpio in your seventh house, this can really play a role excuse me, when it comes to influencing your work flow now. Because when the sun is in Libra, it kind of brings this, um, you know, possibly you want to collaborate with others or join your projects in your daily routine. But if you're, as I said, you have this really potent, strong energy and you're not using it to be productive, sometimes it can hurt your day-to-day routine. So you must really channel this energy of Mars being in Scorpio and use it on a day-to-day basis for uh to move yourself forward, to influence a better work life and work in, work life dynamic. Go to the gym, exercise, work with other people, but work with other people that are like-minded. Don't try to overpower them. Try to be very diplomatic, Taurus, and try to bring collaborations and try to bring people together with different ideas or different a sixth house, or just solving different problems, like listening to people actually, because they can say something that is really beneficial for your daily routine. And so yes, that's all I have for you, Taurus. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Taurus.